Hey everybody, welcome to Boneyard Labs. Today I want to go over kind of a long form, just general topic discussion about the design of this gun stock that me and my son developed and designed. We wanted to include the things that we liked best and we wanted included into our gun stock so that we could play our first person shooters the way we want to, rather than rely on some of the positives and some of the negatives of some of the products that were available on the open market to purchase. So I do offer it right now on Maker World for the first attempt ever at doing a crowdfunding for the projects that I've been doing over the years. This is the first one that I'm crowdfunding, which is only for basically the files to be able to download it and assemble it and print one yourself. I'll just go from back to front, I guess, and we'll just talk about it. So obviously we got the buttstock here. One feature that I thought was pretty cool that we landed on, we had a couple of different options for what we wanted to do in terms of how this thing was adjusted. What we ended up going with is, if you can see it, I know this whole thing's black and it's really high contrast here, so it's hard to see them, but right in here, there you go, right there and right there, we ended up using ball springs so that they can do this. And you get this click motion up and down like that. And it quick adjusts just easy with your thumb up and down to the right height you want, so that when you're shooting, now keep in mind I'm a lefty, so this feels really weird to do this right-handed. So right here, so you can get that cheek weld right there, so you can get that positive, consistent accuracy in your sight alignment and sight picture. Also hiding back there, right in here, is a Allen key that you can just snap out, and then you can use that. Inside here is a screw. Now mine's already set properly, and it's really dark because these lights right up in front of me are very bright, making it hard to see inside there. But there is a screw that you can use to tighten or loosen the hardware that's in here, such that it increases or decreases the amount of twist you can put on the controller cups. Same thing here. This is an adjustable rotating cup, so you can rotate it. That took a while to actually design because we went through a couple of different hardware options in order to try to figure out what works best. And the problem I kept running into is that after you would sit here and you'd play and you'd twist this a few times to get it to, just changing weapons or changing how you want to hold it a little bit, just to get everything dialed in, or maybe calibrating your gun. Eventually it would just work itself loose, and that was obviously a no-go for us. So it took a while, but what we ended up settling on is we have a all metal lock nut inside this bottom portion here of the cup mount base. And we actually did one of those, we actually have it fully encased inside the 3D printed part. So what that means is we go to the slicer file for that part, we put a pause at the layer height and then we drop in that all metal lock nut. And then we let it resume printing, and it prints right over it. So it's completely encased, completely hidden, makes it look premium, feels premium. And then we put a screw through the bottom, and the way I was able to decouple the issue with the tension working its way loose, even with like nylon washers and even the all metal washers, sometimes it would work its way loose. What we ended up going with is a thrust bearing inside that cup underneath the head of the screw. And by thrust bearing is what I mean is one of these guys. Here's an example of one. But yeah, you got this little, I don't know if it's going to focus on that. Maybe I got to put it in front of my face. Dun, dun, dun. Well, you guys get the picture. Anyways, little tiny M4 thrust bearing. What it does is it decouples it, because this sucker is, well, it's a bearing. I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Low friction. So that made it so that we got the rotation we wanted. And for the friction portion, we have a O-ring in between the top cup and this base. So here's your base here, and it has you can see it's totally closed, but there is an all metal lock nut inside there. And so you can see there's a washer here, or excuse me, an O-ring here. And then there's also an O-ring on this face. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what everybody does and stick their hand in front of the camera. There you go. There you go. You can see that one there. And so it's the same kind of idea with the tilt of the controller cups. Okay. So we also have a thrust bearing right in between this post and the T-handle because we want to be able to add friction to this so that it's either harder or easier to adjust based on your playstyle. And if you loosen it a bit, then it becomes easier, right? And if you tighten it a little bit, quarter turn, then it becomes a little tighter. Another quarter turn, and it becomes really tight. Okay, so it's nice and rigid. So we like that adjustability. Again, we added that thrust bearing so that after multiple times using it, this thing doesn't slowly back itself off and you're constantly having to retighten and interrupt your gameplay. Down here, we have a little thumb screw. It's hard to see again because it's so dark. It's so high contrast, but there we are. And it telescopes out. And you can tighten it up. So that's how you adjust the length. Let me scoot back here. That's how you adjust the length. Right? So you can go here, go like that, bring it in, bring this guy up, get it to the size you want. Bang, bang, bang. Good times. And then we have the same thing up here. You can go here. Excuse me. This, again, I'm a lefty, so this is weird doing it right-handed. But again, thumb screw down here. You can move this where you want it. Tighten it down. And there you are. What else do we got here in terms of design features? Yeah, so we have the screws going this way and screws going down this way, and that's what makes this C-shape magwell relief. That's what mounts all this together here. It's really cool. If you haven't seen my other videos, my other little highlight video of it already, that provides the ability to do your reloading in VR in an actual correct mechanical weapons handling fashion, rather than what a lot of people do, is especially my son, what he'll do is he'll kind of load the magazine through the side like it's a M249 with like a side magazine fed weapon. So it's odd. It's odd. So I wanted more immersion, so we built that so that we can swing back and forth, and I'll grab a controller. All right. So here's the controller. So you're here. Bang, bang, bang. Drop mag, reload, boom, straight through here. So it just goes. And you know, at first we were worried that we're gonna be hitting this stuff, but we got the right size to where we play tested it a bunch, and just once you calibrate this thing in the game, it actually works. I've never hit this thing, which is nice. What else? We have a hook here so that we can attach a single point sling to it, which I don't because I had to ship off mine when I sold the last one, and so now I don't have one at the moment. But we also have another one. This one is just half built, but we also have a hole here, and there you can see it. There's a hole there. That is a mil spec size quick release QD sling. So if you have a 3 or 4 ball QD sling mount, you can just pop that right in and it'll swivel just fine. But with this one, you really want a single point. You want a single point sling, not a 2-point sling, because if you're sitting here and you have a sling mount here and a sling mount here and it's going around you and stuff, and you take this off and you go to reload, well, you're going to hit your sling on your arm as you do it. So we did a single point sling so that you're free, so it just goes around your chest and connects right here, and that way you have freedom of movement right through here. What else? As far as the mechanics, I have a T handle here and a T handle on the other side. Okay. Now the reason that's on the other side, whereas these are both right here, it's because weapons handling, again, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted the immersion of the best weapons handling we can give ourselves. There's a few ways you can do the weapons handling, but what I like to do when I reload my weapons is I'll actually put the buttstock just underneath the armpit, just a little bit, and then give it a little tug, right? So in real life, boom, 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 here, I can sit here and go like this while these still remain in the cup. I can loosen this up. I can adjust it. I can tighten it down, right? And I have access here while I'm still maintaining positive control. Now with this side here, same thing. I don't want to try to reach around here and do this, but what I can do is maintain my aim, and if I want to adjust the tension while I'm in the game, I just reach my backhand over to the front, tighten it and loosen it a little bit, and then I'm there, I'm just going. Same thing here. If here, I want my hand here to be loosening it while I'm still maintaining my aim, if I can help it, and there. And then again on the same side here, because what I want to do is I want to go loosen, telescope with my dominant hand, and then tighten it down. We're there. So the adjustability makes sense when you learn the mechanics of how to adjust this thing. It comes pretty quick. The only other thing I wanted to cover, I guess, is the cups, right? Now I know a lot of people like to use the side grip where you can kind of come in from the side and grab where this half of the cup is gone. And I personally don't really like that because what I found is, let me just show you. I did end up going and buying one of these. Everybody probably knows what this is. This is like the nearly $200 thing that I was hoping would be better than it is, but I mean it's still a good product, but I wanted a few things different, namely this. I didn't want to do this. I wanted my mechanics to feel right in the game. But the problem I had with, well, this is set up for my lefty hand here. So let me switch sides because I am a lefty and this is set up for lefty. All right. The thing I didn't really like about these side grips is that you kind of get a general sense of where you're at, but you'll see that, I mean, this thing moves. It moves around, it twists around, it kind of pops in and out, like you saw it kind of twitch. It kind of pops in and out. And so what I found is I would shoot with this and I would reload, boom, go like here, and then I would aim, and my aim would be different because this thing can really, it doesn't really end, and it doesn't really find its way to the exact same spot every time because they have to have it open for the side mount, and then they also have to have this area here below the controller for the actual knuckle strap attachment. So they have to, there's a little give and take, right? So you get a little more freedom to do this going from the side. See, but even that wasn't a very good connection for me. But it's just a little too sloppy for how I like it. So I preferred to get used to the mechanics of having to drop it in. Now, I made these cups so that they're a perfect fit. I took a 3D scanner, scanned the controller, did the offsets just right, and these things really do grip. So if I go like that, if I take this one and give it a nice little thunk, they're in there. They're not just going to fly out. If I give them a little tug, yeah, they'll come out. But, even you could see that this one stayed in even when I pushed that one in and gave it kind of a jolt. So I like it that way because then I know my controller is going to be in exactly the same spot every single time, which is what you want in real life. You want to be able to build the muscle memory to be able to go whew, and then be able to see that sight alignment, sight picture, that muscle memory, that mechanic, being able to put everything exactly where it is as soon as I bring those sights up, So yeah, and then I tried to make it look tactical, I gave it that cool little, like, looks like it's down the front of the gun, and you got these cool little cutouts, and you got some notches, and you got a little barrel looking thing hiding in there, and you got some features here. I use premium heat set inserts on everywhere. There's 10 of them, so that way it's premium because I don't like to use this big giant like chrome hardware, these big giant nuts through here. First of all, you'd have to make everything bigger to accommodate a nut, plus all the material that goes around the nut in order to secure the nut. So I wanted to keep it minimalistic and tight and small platform, and not make it super bulky and ugly. I tried to make it tactical while still maintaining a minimalistic utilitarian type of style. And I have seen people that make it look like an actual AR gun and stuff. But riddle me this, Batman. Am I seeing how cool my gun looks when I'm in the game looking at the cooler gun in VR. Like to me, it doesn't make sense to have this thing all over engineered in terms of what it looks like if most of the time I'm going to be in here, So that's why I went this route. I didn't bother with, I mean, there's some people that have like a million different attachments to like, oh, look, I have a scope that's in the place where the scope would be, even though I don't look through the scope because it's a plastic scope that doesn't have a hole in it. And like, none of it makes sense. Like, it just, so this is me, minimalistic, utilitarian, kind of sort of tactical, right? That's what I went with. As of the day of this filming, like I said, I'm in I think about 10 days or so, maybe a week into the attempt at my crowdfund to be able to sell this. There's a lot of work that went into this thing, a lot of R&D, and I didn't even plan on trying to sell it before, but the crowdfunding thing will seem pretty cool, and I see a lot of people having a lot of success with it. I know this is really niche, and so thus I'm probably not going to meet my goal. But if I do, if you find interest in it and you have a 3D printer or you know some friend who does and you want to have them burn one of these off for you, it will be coming with assembly instructions. There are different purchase options. Yeah, check out the crowdfund. I'll leave the link in the description. If you're seeing this after the crowdfund is over, hit me up in the comments section, or I'll update the description section and let you know kind of where the project's at, if I'm selling the files or if I'm selling the physical product or what's going on. It all really just depends on what happens with the crowdfund. So thanks for watching the video and hope you find interest. Drop a like, drop a comment. You know the deal. And we'll see you in VR. Take care, guys.